Welcome back to the 24A24 movie extravaganza, where I, Sebastian, review 24A24 movies in 24 weeks. Well, actually 25, because there's a bonus review coming next week.
Hey, Patrick.
What?
I thought of something funnier than A24.
Let me hear it.
A25.
That's enough!
That series title really is a tongue twister, and if I'm being honest, they're definitely not my specialty. Perhaps people will not perceive my predicament as a problem, and will perchance pay no mind to my previous proclamation. I will persevere with the review because I pushed myself to procure perfection during my pre-recorded programs. Please pardon the pause and let us progress with the procession. Presently, the picture I will be partaking in is Ladybird. Excuse me, Ladybird. Sorry about that. Directed by Greta Gerwig, whom I adore, by the way. Is it who or whom? I spent 20 minutes looking it up and couldn't figure it out. Anyway, this movie was an Oscar contender and a Golden Globe winner for Best Musical or Comedy. From what I can tell from the trailer, it's not a musical, so I guess I'm expecting a comedy, but I'm honestly all for Greta Gerwig's next movie to be a musical. Team up with Ryan Chazelle, and I would be in heaven. Ugh. Well, I guess I'll have to settle with Ladybird for now. Man, I really wanted to watch a musical. Great. Now I'm going into this with a negative attitude. It better be good. Okay, I feel better already. Oh, and by the way, spoilers from this point on. If you haven't seen the movie yet, don't leave. Just mute the audio, and don't look at the screen. I still want you here for moral support. Christine McPherson, also known as Ladybird, is a senior at a Catholic high school in Sacramento, California, who wants to go to college over on the East Coast. She wants to leave her hometown behind, along with her mother. The two have a very rocky relationship. It's clear that Ladybird's mom loves her very much, but she's also extremely strict and doesn't know always how to show her love. This causes them to constantly fight with each other, and in one really funny moment in the movie, Ladybird jumps out of a moving car just to avoid talking with her mom. I usually put headphones on, but to each their own. Another reason they don't get along is because of the family's wealth. Or lack thereof, I guess. Ladybird tries to appreciate all of the things she has, but it's hard when other kids at school have so much more than her. They have nicer houses and nicer clothes and nicer everything. And as a high schooler, it's really hard to try and fit in when you can't relate to your classmates. It's that age-old dynamic where the coolest kids in school often have the nicest things. Or, I guess you could call it money. That's another way of putting it. It's clear that Ladybird tries not to care about these kinds of things at first, but she wants to be popular. Who doesn't? Hey guys, check out my silly bands and my Pokemon cards. Guys? But while attempting to be popular, she alienates her best friend Julie. She starts ignoring her and begins lying about living in a nice area, which leads to an awkward scene when one of the popular girls wants to come over to her house, but ends up finding out that Ladybird was lying and ends up at someone else's house. Ladybird starts seeing a friendly boy, Danny, who's in the play with her, and she falls hard for him. Until she catches him making out with the guy in the bathroom. Don't you hate it when that happens? Once, I met this really nice girl, and we hit it off really well, but then I saw her kissing a human at a party. Like, who does that? So, Ladybird then starts hanging out with a really cool guy, Kyle, who smokes
hand-rolled cigarettes.
and believes that the government puts chips in our brains. He acts cool, but is far from it. He ends up taking Lady Bird's virginity, but lies about being a virgin himself. This hurts Lady Bird deeply because she wanted her first time to be special, and spoiler alert, not only did he lie, he was anything but special. Lady Bird is all set to go to prom with Kyle, but then she realizes, what's the point of being popular if the popular kids she doesn't want to be around? So she ends up going to prom with Julie, her old friend, and they have a better time than she ever would with Kyle. Near the end of the movie, Lady Bird finds out that she gets accepted into a college in New York, but only does so behind her mom's back. Her mom was against her going to the East Coast because it would be too expensive, but Lady Bird applies anyways and gets her dad to help her with financial aid. But during her high school graduation party, Danny accidentally reveals that she was accepted into that New York school, and her mom stops speaking to her. Dang it, Danny! You're cute, but you keep hurting my girl. Lady Bird gets dropped off at the airport by her mom and dad, but her mom doesn't get out of the car. Her dad takes her to the airport, and her mom drives off. She has a change of heart and drives back, but it's too late. Lady Bird has already left for New York.
She'll be back. She'll come back.
She arrives in New York and has a crazy first couple of days, but when she starts to unpack, she finds some papers in her bag. They're rough drafts written by her mom, slipped in her bag by her dad. Lady Bird calls her dad and he tells her that her mom was trying to find the right words, but couldn't. So he put all the drafts in her bag. Lady Bird understands that her mom loves her, but just has a hard time of showing it, leaving us with a very bittersweet ending. Man, that movie was sure sad for being a comedy. Did it have comedic elements? Yes. Would I classify it as a comedy? No. What's wrong with you, Golden Globes? But I digress. I enjoyed this movie. I hope most kids don't have as rocky a relationship as Lady Bird and her mom. But we've all had moments like them. Teenagers fight with their parents. And it was refreshing to see both sides of the story. As a teenager, you always think you're right because parents are old and out of touch. And as a parent, you think you know what's best for your child because you're experienced and have been through everything they've been through. What this movie does is great because it gets you to emphasize with both sides. You feel for Lady Bird. You feel her mom is being too tough and sometimes says things she shouldn't. But you also see she really loves her and does everything she can to provide for her. It's this mother-daughter relationship that these two share that turn this from your ordinary high school drama into something a little more. Most high school movies I've seen focus on just one point of view, which isn't inherently bad, but it doesn't bring the layer of complexity that Lady Bird does. You go through the whole movie switching sides. You agree that Lady Bird should be able to go to college on the East Coast. But then she says how she's embarrassed to live where she does, and then you go, well, now I'm on the mom's side because you're just a spoiled brat. You go back and forth agreeing and disagreeing with each character until the end, when Lady Bird finally understands where her mom is coming from, and that she does truly love her, even though she has a hard time showing it. It's a great ending that not only solidifies the relationship between the two, but also solidifies your feelings for both of them. You come to realize that they're both flawed and they truly love each other, right when they realize the same thing. It's a really cool moment, and I don't know a whole lot of movies that can do that. To help that point come across, the actors do an amazing job with their characters. One thing I can say so far with these A24 movies, the acting has probably been the best part. Hopefully next week won't ruin that. It's honestly crazy that this movie was Saoirse Ronan's third Oscar nomination, and she was only 22 when they started filming. It was also her third Golden Globe nomination, but she actually won for this one. I don't like to divulge my age, but let's just say at her age, I only had one Oscar nom and one Tony. Her performance felt very raw and real. She played an excellent angsty teenager, probably because she might have just been one only a few years prior. You feel her excitement and innocence when it comes to experiencing the firsts of high school. Prom, boyfriends, all that stuff. but you also feel the anger and frustration that comes with being that age. That feeling that you're so close to freedom, but you're still stuck following your dumb parents' dumb rules. Saoirse was amazing in this movie, like usual, and I honestly think she is the most talented young actress in Hollywood today, other than Timothée Chalamet, of course. What's that? Timothy's a guy? But Saoirse wasn't the only powerhouse in this movie. Her movie mom, Laurie Metcalf, also had a fantastic performance. Like Saoirse, she was nominated for both an Oscar and a Golden Globe. She didn't have as much screen time, but she spent that time chewing the heck out of the scenery. She really made you dislike her character at times, since she was so hard on Lady Bird. But Laurie's kindness and warmth shined through and brought forth a really complex character that you simultaneously felt angry at, but also empathized with. It's like she was able to play every mom ever in one role. She was bitter, loving, rageful, melodramatic, and everything else in between. There were times where I found myself going like, no, don't do that. Because as soon as I started to empathize with the character, she would do something that made me resent her. That takes a talented actress to make you hate and love her character at the same time. And Laurie did a stellar job of doing that. The supporting cast was all great too. Tracy Letts plays the endearing dad. Lucas Hedges was the adorable Danny. And Timothée Chalamet was the outwardly adorable Kyle. Beanie Feldstein was also great as Lady Bird's best friend Julie. They all had minimal screen time compared to Saoirse and Laurie, but they all played their role perfectly. The script can really let a movie set in high school down. Oftentimes, screenwriters don't understand how high school kids talk and interact, which can lead me to having trouble believing in the characters. Not here. Greta Gerwig did an amazing job making these characters not only feel real, but also feel timeless. This movie takes place in 2002, but I also feel like it could have taken place today and not really felt out of place. The characters were rich and complex. No black or white characters. Everybody was flawed because that's how real life people are. They sounded like real people, felt like real people, and that was all due to Greta Gerwig's fantastic script, which, by the way, was nominated for an Oscar and Golden Globe. You know, I don't always agree with the award shows, but I felt they got it right with this one. Totaling 5 Oscar nominations and 4 Golden Globe nominations, with 2 wins, Lady Bird perches atop the best movies of 2017. Get it? Perches? Like a bird? I'll show myself out. A heartfelt story, combined with some terrific performances and a script to boot. I would definitely recommend watching this one. Maybe it wasn't a musical, or even a comedy for that matter, but it was still pretty darn good. But why does it have to just stop at a movie? Let's make my original wishes come true. Greta Gerwig, hit me up. I want to adapt Lady Bird into a Broadway musical and bring out all the stops. I've got Lin-Manuel Miranda on speed dial, and my Tony is looking awfully lonely by itself in my trophy cabinet. I give Lady Bird 8 out of 10 stars. Make sure to like the video and subscribe. Thank you very much. Bye!